I'm going to go over some of the top lies in the Kyle Rittenhouse case and why people are so invested. Hey guys, my name is Jason Wesley and this is not a podcast. Now, I was going to do an episode about this case much sooner than now, but there was a lot of misinformation being spread by the mainstream media outlets and politicians and other activists. So I wanted to make sure I compiled everything, and I'm going to share that with you right now. Now, I think this is actually funny. Insider published a headline that read, Kyle Rittenhouse's trial opens with his lawyer saying the N-word twice in court. Now, that might make you think that his lawyer opened up saying,
You remember that shit I gave you last week, nigga? It's nothing, nigga. It's nothing.
But no, that's not what happened. He was quoting what Rosenbaum said from the night of the shooting.
You got shoot me. Shoot me. Bust on me.
So if you remember, there was a man named Jacob Blake that had the police called on him by his baby mama. The responding officers were aware that he had an open warrant for a felony sexual assault against her. Law enforcement responds, Jacob was tased, he wrestles himself away from the officers, continued to get a knife from his vehicle, and was shot. This erupted in even more protests, which some call riots and looting, based on a lie the media promulgated of white cops killing unarmed black men. Now here's a clip of Kenosha burning, while the Chiron claims, at the bottom if you read it, it says, fiery but mostly peaceful protest.
Laura, what you're seeing behind me is one of multiple locations that have been burning in Kenosha, Wisconsin.
The media just didn't do that for this so-called protest, but many others in 2020. Now remember, even Jacob Blake's mom came out against the rioting and the damage being caused.
And as his mother, please don't burn up property and cause havoc and tear your own homes down in my son's name.
And here's some of that burning.
Just take a look at the heat from this. It's just so intense. It's absolutely incredible as law enforcement continues to state, I guess, doing really nothing. But what can you do when there's a few officers, thousands of protesters, and multiple fires?
Now to recap, Kyle Rittenhouse, 17 at the time, lives 20 minutes away. He goes to Kenosha to protect property and provide medical aid to potentially injured people. Here's a tape of him saying this prior to any of the shooting.
People are getting injured, and our job is to protect this business, and part of my job is to also help people. If there's somebody hurt, I'm running into harm's way.
Are you from the area?
I am from the area.
What brought you out here tonight? You just wanted to provide medical attention?
Provide medical attention to people that need it. If somebody's injured, like, you get hurt, I'm grabbing you.
Now, the first person Kyle shot was Joseph Rosenbaum. Earlier in the night, witness says the man Kyle Rittenhouse shot had said he would kill them earlier that night. So Rosenbaum chased after Kyle. There was gunfire before Kyle shot Rosenbaum. Rosenbaum then tries to take Kyle's gun, and then he's shot by Kyle. Kyle then calls 911 and begins running away because the mob starts chasing him, yelling, "Get him!" And as he's running towards the police for help, he gets knocked down and hit in the head with a skateboard by Anthony Huber, and then Kyle shoots him as he's attacking him. Then Gage Grosskreutz pulls a handgun and points it at Kyle, and then Kyle shoots him in the bicep. Gage testified and admitted that Kyle was going to the police and only shot him after he pointed his gun at him.
It wasn't until you pointed your gun at him, advanced on him, with your gun, now your hands down, pointed at him, that he fired, right?
Correct.
Gage also admitted that he omitted that he even had a Glock pistol in the initial police report.
You omitted the fact that you ran up on him and had a Glock pistol in your hand, right? You left that out.
Correct.
Rosenbaum was a registered sex offender. At the time of his death, he was on the Wisconsin Sex Offender Registry for an Arizona child molestation case. He faced 11 charges in that case, but they were amended in a plea deal. Now, before I get to the top lies the media and others told, I want to cover a few things that happened during the trial. So Kyle Rittenhouse takes a stand at one point to testify and breaks down crying.
That's what I... That's what I run.
We're gonna just take time for our break anyway.
That prompted Lebron James to tweet, "What tears? I didn't see one. Man, knock it off. That boy ate some lemon heads before walking to court." This is the same man that said that he had to learn to trust white people.
Like when I first went to the 9th grade in the high school, I was on some like, I'm not with white people.
Right.
Like, cause I was so institutionalized growing up in the hood, it's like they don't with us. They don't want us to succeed. The hierarchy, and then we're here. Like, matter of fact, we're underneath this chair.
LeBron also reposted a statement from Bubba Wallace that said, "Ha, let that boy be black and it would have been life. Hell, he would have had his life taken before the bullshit trial. Sad." Now, Bubba Wallace is the same man that claimed a noose was tied in his garage in Talladega when it was simply a garage pole that was there in pictures before Bubba was even in that garage, and the FBI labeled it a non-hate crime. Now, the racist D.L. Hughley said white tears will sway jurors.
I got to find out what is in these white tears. They do so well. We have to find the ingredients for white tears. They work so well. That was the worst acting I've seen since Stacey Dash. Are you crazy? That was horrible.
Joy Behar said it was the worst acting she had ever seen.
The guy goes across state lines with an AR-15 with his mother and some other idiot in the car to defend himself against what? They're having a protest in another state, and he takes it upon himself to go there, you know, and then he says it's self-defense. No. And that acting job of the crying, I can't even look at it.
Well, this is
that is one of the worst acting jobs I've ever seen.
And even after admitting he pointed a Glock pistol at Kyle, at which point Kyle shot him in the bicep, Gage went on Good Morning America and said that Kyle was crying because he got caught.
To me, it seemed like a child who had just gotten caught doing something that he wasn't supposed to. More upset that he was caught and less upset about what he had done.
Now, why would people be so upset with a clear self-defense verdict, where many believe that Kyle was a white supremacist that went out to kill black people at a BLM protest? Well, it's because the malfeasance of our mainstream media and political actors attempting to gain political points. Here's the coverage from the media about Kyle after the shooting.
You see the 17-year-old who was radicalized by Trumpism, took his AR-15 to Kenosha and became a killer.
A white, Trump-supporting, MAGA-loving, Blue Lives Matter social media partisan, 17 years old, picks up a gun, drives from one state to another with the intent to shoot people.
A 17-year-old boy who drove across state lines with an AR-15 and started shooting people up, including a guy with a skateboard.
Kyle Rittenhouse, who has killed protesters, unarmed protesters.
Kenosha shooter, Kyle Rittenhouse, he murdered 2 people, by the way.
Rittenhouse is basically what you would have had in a school shooter. He's a 17-year-old kid. He shouldn't have had a gun. He crossed state lines to supposedly protect property. No, he was going out to shoot people.
Kyle Rittenhouse, the 17-year-old vigilante.
Kyle Rittenhouse, a vigilante.
Kyle Rittenhouse, the armed teenage vigilante.
A 17-year-old vigilante, arguably a domestic terrorist, picked up a rifle, drove to a different state to shoot people.
Kyle Rittenhouse, a guy who's deeply racist, went with weapons to a Black Lives Matter protest looking to get in trouble. He did. He murdered a couple of people.
They're speaking about Kyle like he's Spider-Man or something.
He's a criminal, that's who he is. A vigilante, a public menace.
Menace? He was protecting that armored
car. I'll tell you what,
from
Atticus, you take the pictures, I'll make up the headlines, okay?
Governor Gavin Newsom of California tweeted, "America today, you can break the law, carry around weapons built for our military, shoot and kill people, and get away with it." That's the message we've just sent to armed vigilantes across the nation. Now, one of the lies that was told that a lot of people seem to have believed was that Kyle killed 3 black people. All 3 of the men that were shot were white. The spark that led to the riots was Jacob Blake being shot by police, but there was so much misinformation. People thought Jacob Blake was actually killed by police, which was another lie. Here's Jalen Rose.
Here's the thing. The Black Lives Matter protest was actually taking place because Jacob Blake was shot and killed by police officers, right?
Wrong. Jacob isn't dead, and that's a pretty big detail. Another lie was Kyle crossed state lines with an AR-15 to murder people.
Here you have a 17-year-old boy who is driven by his mother across state lines with an automatic weapon. Frankly, she should have been detained for child endangerment, to go to a protest where he says he's going to help the police.
Here's a couple commentators, as well as Trevor Noah, speaking about Kyle's intent to shoot someone.
Some guy decided to drive to Kenosha with his militia buddies to protect a business, and apparently ended up shooting 3 people and killing 2. But don't worry, the business is okay. And let me tell you something. No one drives into a city with guns because they love someone else's business that much. No one has ever thought, oh, it's my solemn duty to pick up a rifle and protect that TJ Maxx. They do it because they're hoping to shoot someone.
The truth is, his rifle was kept in a safe at his best friend's stepfather's house in Kenosha. Now, the next lie was actually pretty hilarious to me. Kyle wore gloves to cover his fingerprints. Stranger Things actor Matthew Modine tweeted, "Is Kyle Rittenhouse wearing surgical gloves? If so, why? To cover his fingerprints? Why would he load a weapon with bullets, travel to an event, aim the rifle at people, pull the trigger of the rifle he'd loaded, unless he went there with the intent to kill?" Here's a picture of Kyle earlier in the day cleaning graffiti off of walls wearing, wait for it, gloves. I swear, some people want to fit that square peg in that round hole so badly. Now, the next lie is that the judge is a Trump supporter and favored Rittenhouse. Vanity Fair published this headline: "The Kyle Rittenhouse judge is the actual worst." What do they have, like college freshmen writing these headlines? "God Bless the USA" is the opening song played at every Trump rally. Lee Greenwood literally sang it at Trump's inauguration. It is the ringtone of the judge in the Kyle Rittenhouse murder trial. When in actuality, Judge Schroeder is a Democrat. He ran as a Democrat for Wisconsin Senate and was first appointed by a Democrat governor. The misinformation that was spread caused people to even reach out to the court with emails and attacks like this on the judge. "Judge Schroeder is a disgrace to the law. Remove him from judicial proceedings. Your Honor, I didn't know that under the black robes of justice you wear a white robe of the Klan. There is no way a fair trial can be heard under your supervision." A white robe of the Klan? Everybody in this case is white. What the hell are y'all talking about? Now, many of you remember the situation with Nick Sandman and the Covington Catholic High School. Sandman, a student of Covington Catholic High School, was videotaped on the National Mall in Washington, D.C. on January 18th after he and other students participated in the annual March for Life rally. In a video that went viral, Sandman was seen wearing a red Make America Great Again hat standing in front of Omaha tribe elder Nathan Phillips. Phillips, who was beating a drum and chanting, had participated in the Indigenous Peoples March the same day. Even in this piece, they're misleading. A new video shows a different side of the encounter between the Native American elder and teens in MAGA hats.
And it all blew up because of a viral video that got thousands upon thousands of views from one perspective, and now we know now from a longer video that there was a lot going on, a lot of tension being hurled at these kids from four black men standing there who call themselves Hebrew Israelites. They started all this tension, and you saw there Nathan Phillips walking up with his drum and coming in between the two groups.
So, look, I mean, there's still so many questions. It's hard to know if we'll ever really know who's telling the truth and what really happened. But of course, everyone wants to take a side.
Did you catch that? She said it's hard to know if we'll ever really know who's telling the truth. But your actual reporter just gave you the video evidence, stated a list of facts that you can clearly see, and you don't leave it there. You gaslight. This is why people don't trust the media. We see something with our own eyes. We have context, and then you say, you didn't see what you just saw. Well, that's why they ended up settling a $250 million lawsuit with the Washington Post. And I hope Kyle Rittenhouse does exactly what Nick Sandman did and sues these media outlets as well as politicians like Joe Biden, suggesting that he was a white supremacist in defamation lawsuits. Jen Psaki, who is now recovered from COVID, even though she was vaccinated, wears a mask, and socially distanced, doubled down on Biden's stance on his campaign video, suggesting that Kyle was a white supremacist.
Another topic. Would the president ever apologize to the acquitted Kenosha shooter Kyle Rittenhouse for suggesting online and on TV that he is a white supremacist?
Well, let's be clear what we're talking about here. This is about a campaign video released last year that used President Trump's own words during a debate as he refused to condemn white supremacists and militia groups. And President Trump, as we know from history, and as many of you covered, didn't just refuse to condemn militia groups on the debate stage, he actively encouraged them throughout his presidency.
She is the queen of not answering questions and lying. You want the receipts? Here it is.
Are you willing tonight to condemn white supremacists and militia groups and to say that they need to stand down and not add to the violence in a number of these cities, as we saw in Kenosha and as we've seen in...
And since she brought up President Trump not refusing to condemn white supremacists and white supremacy, here's just a few times during his presidency where he did it publicly that the left either doesn't know about and spreads misinformation or knows and blatantly lies.
How many times do I have to reject? I've rejected David Duke. I've rejected the KKK, the Ku Klux Klan. From the time I'm 5 years old, I rejected them.
In one voice, our nation must condemn racism, bigotry, and white supremacy. Racism is evil, and those who cause violence in its name are criminals and thugs, including the KKK, neo-Nazis, white supremacists.
I denounce white supremacy.
Okay.
What's your next question?
The fact that she's still even spreading this old debunked lie is very telling of what she thinks of you. It's not that she's stupid. It's that she thinks that you and I are stupid and we're not going to do our own due diligence.
Will you be mine?